I am not here to offend anybody. I'm not here to call people out. And I am big against internet trolling and internet bullying. But
who the is this crab? I've literally just filmed for Sky whilst you're droning on with your little YouTube channel that has less than 400 subscribers. Oh, and before anyone says ignore it, I'd rather call it out because it highlights the extent people will go to for views. Keep going. I work for the biggest company in the entire UK paranormal industry. I get invited to the biggest conventions. I get paid a fortune to go on television whilst you're sat at home trying to make something of your misery of a life. That's not ego. That's a fact.
Whew. That's not ego, eh?
Look how she's gone down the debunking rant style, trying to copy some of the bigger debunker channels to try and get views. Pathetic little rodent.
Wow. For someone who says
with personal attacks from the debunker community, and it is, they can defend it all they like and say they're not toxic, that their community is the most toxic thing I've ever come across.
That's pretty hypocritical, isn't it? It's disgusting, and unfortunately there's more. All of these comments here are in response to a video from a lady called Sarah from Fantastic Publishing, who never said anything like this towards him. Now, I know what you might be thinking, another drama video, what are you doing, Mythos? Now, I don't tend to get involved in other people's drama, but when I see people being horrible to someone like this, bullying them and intimidating them, I just can't help myself. So today we are looking at the toxicity and hypocrisy of that certain individual you've seen there called dannymoss, who you may or may not know from the myhauntedproject channel, and I'm also including them in this because they're openly backing his actions, which is disgusting. So I've seen people showing off what Danny has been saying here and there for a number of months now, and some things I thought, that is not cool.
If you're a TV show on YouTube, you are degrading yourself.
Like, that is just ridiculous. Ouija brothers, delete your channel. You are degrading yourselves. And some things I thought, do you know what? Danny was actually right there.
We live in an era now where talent doesn't matter. We live in an era with TikTok where people shut off after 3 seconds of watching a video, and they want that on YouTube. Like, they're just watching it on the phone, scrolling through. Oh, that, yeah, I'll watch 5 minutes of that. No, I'll turn it off. Like, what's happened? What's happened to humanity?
100% agree. I call that TikTok brain. The problem is Danny is using that as an excuse to why people aren't watching his videos. So anyway, after seeing this, I've not really been sure what to make of Danny, and to be honest, I've not really cared. I've just stayed out of it, but he's gone too far this time. This is just not a good look on him and the hotel. I first seen Danny a few years ago, where I actually watched him and his team on Amazon Prime, where he had a TV show called The Haunted Hunts. I didn't watch loads because what I seen, I thought, this guy's fake as I'm not saying anything like string pulling doors or anything like that. Just by the way he goes on in his videos, major overreactions and putting anything down to being paranormal before investigating further. As much as he says he doesn't do that, he does. It's the same in every video. I can now predict what's going to happen in his videos because of these traits. And I literally did it with his new stuff that he's been uploading recently. I said to myself, what would happen before I clicked? And he ticked all the boxes. That we'll be having to leave the room over nothing.
Detected a sudden 5-degree drop in temperature, and we immediately had a static rise. I need to leave this room right now, Alice, please. We need to go right now, okay? Apologies right now for the hysteria, but we are absolutely in panic mode. We have just heard somebody in this house. Alice, I'm fucking done. Get me out of this fucking house now.
Dan, I don't want to go out the door.
Come on, was that a fucking baby? Come on. I'm fucking done.
There will be feeling some kind of way.
The only way to explain the atmosphere at this point is that it felt we were in extreme danger. This is not evidence of the paranormal, but with a 5-degree drop in temperature. I'm cold.
So because of all of this, I just stopped watching. But I do also have to give him credit and say, whatever he seems to be involved in, he does make good shows. All of the editing, nice B-roll shots, and I like the way he takes you through the thought process of, okay, this has allegedly happened in this room, so let's place a camera here, I just can't watch because of all the drama that I think is a genuine act.
Don't you do anything in this room? Why?
Which he confirmed for me here when he said this on the Paranormal Monkey podcast.
Actually, you've been in the TV industry for over 20 years. I was an actor.
Anyway, after seeing them on the Haunted Hunts TV show and then stopped watching, a while later I was in Chester on a day out and I was like, oh, while I'm here, I want to visit the old King's Head just to look at it and get a photo. Because no matter what people think of the place now, it's kind of always been a legendary, famous haunted pub in England. And I've always believed it to be a haunted pub. I got there, I seen the myhauntedhotel sign outside and I was like, oh no, what has someone done? They're now marketing it as some haunted place. That's cringe. When I was home, I had a search and up popped their YouTube channel. And when I clicked on it, I literally said out loud, that's that fake guy. I couldn't believe it because I was like, hang on a minute. When I watched the Haunted Hunts on TV, I think the episode that made me think, nope, fake as was when they were at Ye Old King's Head, which is now My Haunted Hotel. I was like, oh my god, let me find that episode again and watch it just to remember what's happened, because it has been a while. I can't actually remember what happened. I just remember thinking, I've had enough of this. He's just putting on an act. But guess what? You can't watch it anymore, even on their still active Patreon where they post old episodes. This one cannot be found. But never mind. That got me thinking, let's have a watch of the new stuff. Then I found him screaming at an apparent talking doll and I was like, yep, he's back at it, but now on YouTube.
Is this it, Jeanette? Is this it? Don't you speak to me!
How degrading.
Got it!
No wonder people were making debunking videos of the place. If you're shouting and screaming at a doll, pretending it's possessed and pretending it's actually talking to you, you're fake as and you need to get a grip. This is not talking to you.
Do it! Please!
I had to laugh though, because while being terrified of a doll, Danny has had to squeeze in how hard he is into a paranormal investigation.
It's about being in the best physical and mental condition as possible.
And I'm only bringing this up because of a recent comment saying that no debunker would dare say anything to his face because he used to box. Ah yes, let's talk about physical violence over someone saying they think you fake ghost activity.
Diet is absolutely the cleanest of anyone I know. I exercise 4 times a week.
Just what I want to know when I'm watching a paranormal investigation. I'm not even joking, by the way. This is genuinely in one of his videos. Maybe we should get the doll to Danny's boxing gym and see who comes out on top. Nah, I'm only joking, but this is a bit disappointing to see. As a lover of the fight game myself, you learn these skills and they tend to make you more humble. You have more respect for people because from being in the gym, you know that anyone could be a beast and you know what people are capable of, and you quickly find out that you're not the hardest man on the planet. You know, it's almost like a superpower against an average person who doesn't train. So to use it to threaten and intimidate someone is absolutely shameful. You learn to protect yourself and step in to protect others. But over the years, I've seen people in gyms learning these skills to be a bully, to be the hard man of the town, and this strikes me as that. Talking to people the way Danny does, talking to Sarah the way Danny has, putting these clips of being a tough guy into paranormal investigations. Is this some kind of intimidation tactic? Don't call me fake or argue with me because I'll box your head in. My point proven by his comment here. He says, the thing with the paranormal is that the large majority of people have severe mental health issues or some other form of issue. These people just simply won't behave like this in person, and that's where I have major issues. Don't be a behind a keyboard unless you're prepared to behave the exact same way in person. For years, I've had people be a to me, but the reason people have an issue is because I hit back and they don't like it. 13 years, not one single person has ever said it to my face, and this absolutely sums it up. They won't. One debunker told me another debunker won't come to the hotel because he's scared of me, because I box. And there's the problem right there. Happy to slate me from behind a keyboard in another country, but won't come and say it to me in person. Absolute shithouse. Even Danny's own fans say a healthy debate yes, but not violence. This is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever read. Danny should be embarrassed. He's claiming people who say those things about him are mentally ill. They are, as you say, behind keyboards because they won't act like that in person. Okay, example, the Shape, who you've had a problem with. He flies over from America to the UK, says, "You're fake." What's the point? What's going to come of that? A debunker apparently said they won't go to the hotel because you box. I highly doubt that. First of all, debunkers doing what they do know they're going to get shit from people, but they do it anyway because they're not the type of people scared of confrontation. Two, they won't go there because all those hotel guys won't let them look for things like false walls, and the thought of you lot staring at them through your cameras is just freaking creepy.
Harry, Brett and myself monitoring both the Ouija brothers and ghosts on Trent from the My Haunted Hotel control room, and this would give us eyes on all 24 cameras.
I'd want to check the whole place out without being watched and radioed in on your freaking walkie-talkies.
Guys, bear with me, you're trying to debunk something.
And don't bring up Beardo's trip either. Everyone knew the guys removed what was in that talking doll before he got there. In the Side-Eye Guy's video where he spoke about Danny's comments, he said he's had people reach out to him and say they are genuinely scared of Danny. That is just not a good feeling to put across to someone.
I have literally spoken to people who say they are scared of Danny. In particular, they've actually said that they are scared of him. Like, I've had people send me stuff like screenshots and all the rest of it and said they do not want their names including that because they are worried about what Danny will say to them. And how could anyone blame them when you see the shit he is saying right now about Sarah?
Danny posted he found Fantastic's personal profile. Was this some kind of threat and intimidation tactic as well? What do you mean by this, Danny? What are you gonna do? What's so funny? Anyway, back to haunted dolls while I was on that. People who own haunted locations love a haunted doll because it brings in money. Look at Annabelle and the story that's now believed about that doll and all of the money it's made. Trust me, I would punt that doll off a bridge and sleep like a baby at night. They're just dolls. Usually people come up with cool stories, but this lady here from another place shows what people from these haunted locations actually do.
Well, there's the Charlie McCarthy doll downstairs.
Yeah, do you have a story with that doll down there?
I just got him off of Facebook Marketplace.
Anyway, there were other things that bothered me, like them actually ruining the place. Like I said, it used to be a well-known and respected location, but they've dressed it up like a haunted house, which you just see at the local fair.
There's a lot of comments about the decor of the building, that it's become an attraction.
Which leads me onto the Side-Eye Guy's channel, who showed that one of the guys, Brett, actually did work for something like that and made haunted attractions and stuff.
My background is in attraction design, and that's actually come back to bite me on the arse a few times.
So the questions about this place started to be asked. Have they done the same here? Have they had speakers hooked up? Hidden things to make knocks and bangs? False walls for people to move around? They got Beardo to go there, check all of this out, and obviously he found nothing. They're not going to leave all that stuff in there for him to find, are they? I've always thought the place was actually haunted, but now all of this has made me think, if there is anything going on there, I just won't trust the evidence. I ended up watching other debunk videos from people like The Shape. Then I seen the hotels firing back. The Shape got something wrong and apologised, which it seems they took as a big win.
A certain person tried to debunk us and we found it quite comical.
There are some things brought up in said video that are quite frankly embarrassing.
It's actually quite laughable. Whether these trolls want to admit that they're jealous or not, which they obviously won't do, it is jealousy. The Shape's going to make a video of us and really embarrass himself and clutch at straws.
This person is also allowed to come here to actually do some real debunking for a change.
We are going to separate ourselves from the toxicity of the debunker community.
Pathetic little rodent.
I think here, from this point, you could see some very clear hate from Danny towards anyone who would question the place. He'd always claimed the debunking community was toxic and said hateful things, but all I'd ever seen was just them questioning what the hotel was doing. Never any toxic comments or personal insults towards anyone. I'd happily take a look at the screenshots though. Apparently they've got them. I've seen debunkers always say, please don't go and hate on people. people, so I'd like to see who these people are and see if I recognize any of the names. I'll be honest though, I highly doubt these screenshots even exist. But in my own experiences and looking back, any faker who gets called out reacts like this and claims all of these things, so this says a lot to me. All while saying this though, everything he said was absolutely toxic. All he'd ever do is have a go at people who question them, which happened to this channel called Fantastic Publishing, a lady called Sarah. She showed off one of the recent things that he's been saying on some interview, and it was the same old stuff he's been saying for the past few months now. I'm not just here on one side or the other though. I can take a step back, look at the overall thing, I can agree on some things each person said, and I can disagree with things each person said, but it's what's come after that is just absolutely out of line. So Fantastic said she made this video to defend the debunking community and the real paranormal community, and she says,
"This is about attacks on the debunking community, and frankly, Mr. Moss, every time you start saying things like that, you are behaving in the exact same way you're accusing us of. So just remember that before you start kicking off at anybody."
Which is 100% true, and it definitely didn't stop him kicking off, did it?
Who the f is this crab?
Oh boy. I will leave the link to the video here, so if you want to go and check out the full thing, just click down below. Danny comments about My Haunted Project being
It's far too advanced to be on YouTube.
which is an absolute joke, to be honest. Sarah takes the piss a bit, but she is right. I mean, come on.
It's far too advanced to be on YouTube. It's far too advanced to be on YouTube.
Sarah goes on to talk about the guys getting two ladies in and tricking them by using the Ouija board, but feeding them false information to see what comes through when they use it. Now, I actually think Ouija boards are a load of bullshit myself, but I'm still open to hear other people's stories, as you never know. What if? So I do generally agree with the guys on this and what they're saying. I even made a how to debunk the Ouija board video a while ago, where I show if you place a stack of cards or paper onto the planchette, the movement of the cards will show whether the person is moving it or not. So they get the two ladies to the hotel who are going to conduct the Ouija board experiment.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Lisa.
And we're from Lost Souls UK. It's our first time at My Haunted Hotel. We'd never really heard of it before, but the guys have asked us to come in on an investigation and see what we can find.
Okay, so Danny takes the ladies around the hotel and tells them some fake history of deaths there and ghosts, obviously implanting those names in the ladies' minds, which he absolutely loves.
Interesting walk around, threw a few spanners in there.
Who the hell's James Clement?
No, fuck James, isn't it? This is planting the seed, and we're gonna see if any of these names come through. I was quite adamant on pronouncing the names correctly, really forcing it on them. If they do come up, then we know that they are physically pushing the planchette or the glass around the board.
It's if this happens, they're fake. Straight on the attack mode and loving it. Brett actually had to stop him there and explain what's another possibility.
There's two theories to it. Is that either they are forcibly doing it and they are knowingly doing it, or it could be a version of the idiomotor effect where they are moving it, they literally just don't know they're doing it.
Which he is 100% right on. This is exactly how Ouija boards work, so I don't quite understand what this is about, to be honest.
Another interesting point up there as well is Sam is very much a feelings type of person. She said in room 6 that she felt a breeze across her hand. I then noticed the windows were open. But, you know, this will be interesting to see if they get any feelings and really start to spin this. They also mentioned the human pendulum earlier on when we were speaking to them. It's really old school methods and methods that absolutely grind my gears, shall we say.
By Danny's reaction, it sounds like it was his idea and he can't wait to show show off someone faking, which he basically proves here.
Brett and I really differ in opinions here. So Brett believes a lot of this is unintentional. I believe it's all intentional. I believe they push it on purpose. I believe they know what they're doing and they move it to what they want intentionally.
Our faith in humanity is...
Mine is very little.
Like Brett said, if those ladies come out with those fake names, it might not be them two intentionally faking, it's their subconscious doing it for them through the idiomotor effect, basically meaning they're moving it without knowing through micro muscular movements. Brett even explains for a second time to Danny, and right after explaining it to Danny, nodding his head, he then says this:
For anyone who thinks there is even a hint of a chance that what is happening here is paranormal and the Ouija board is actually working, then watch very closely as we are about to completely debunk what is happening here in record time.
Completely disregarding what Brett has just told him. He wants these ladies to be fakers. He complains about the debunkers non-stop, but look at him when he's trying to debunk somebody. Oh my god. So they start the experiment and the ladies come out with the fake names, of course.
John Abbott.
Which it isn't their fault or them faking. If you've watched any Derren Brown, you'll understand how easy it is to manipulate someone's mind, which Danny did, taking them around this place and feeding them false information. So this is what Sarah from Fantastic was saying in her video. The guys have done the girls dirty here by using them as lab rats for this experiment. But it gets worse.
What if we tell them that all of this...
No.
I'll do it. I've only come into the experiment late tonight, so I have got no attachments.
Unlike Catherine.
Unlike Catherine, yeah.
Hey.
Danny is adamant they're faking it and says,
I want to see the reactions to realising that what they were getting was a load of bollocks.
What they were causing was a load of bollocks.
So Brett goes on to telling the ladies that they were fooled.
So one of our experiments, we created the name John Abbott.
And by the ladies' reactions...
I kind of knew you were going to go that way.
Fantastic was absolutely right when she said,
The video itself was disgusting, in my opinion. It was completely tricking two women who had gone into the hotel to do an investigation. They were fed false information and they were tricked. That's not the way you do things. And they are patting themselves on the back. An ethical experiment would have been to at least let those ladies know there was some form of experiment going on. You don't have to tell them what it is until the end, when you have to tell them. It was disgusting. If you think that's showing the paranormal community how they do their investigations, you are encouraging very bad practice.
The problem I see with this is the hotel guys have made absolute fools of these ladies. They're even embarrassing them in the comments. When people say things, they're just laughing about it. I bet the ladies feel like absolute idiots. I can't imagine what the drive home felt like. And let's not forget, they have their own paranormal business where they offer ghost hunts.
We're from Lost Souls UK.
Danny complains about debunkers, but he is potentially hurting these ladies' business by doing this to them. But guess what?
We'll probably get backlash from this and don't really care.
Actually, Danny, you showed you really do care. A lot. So let's take a look at the aftermath of Fantastic's video. Danny's initial post, which I showed at the start, was actually hilarious with the amount of hypocrisy in it. But what shocked me is he's posting personal insults about Sarah like that, even though he says
trolled to pieces with personal attacks from the debunker community, and it is, they can defend it all they like and say they're not toxic, that their community is the most toxic thing I've ever come across.
Danny shared the video and said to go and have a laugh, potentially inciting hate towards Sarah. Because of the way Danny goes on, his followers are just going to go and do the same, as shown under the link that he posted to her channel. As I covered before, Danny posted her personal profile inciting more hate towards her, and it looks like he thought he was so clever for finding it, even though she uses her full name on her profiles. When the lady below says how toxic Sarah is, clearly without watching the video, she totally ignores Danny's toxicity, and what does Danny reply with? He just calls Sarah a pathetic little rodent. This is actually pathetic, not Sarah. Danny missed a big bollocks when a lady has something to say. When the side-eye guy went live and called Danny out, he didn't have anything to say.
You're a bully, Danny.
He still hasn't had anything to say.
I want to know from you, Danny, where was your energy here for me or the shape. You're
You could
okay
channel-
doing that to a woman? I haven't read where you've kind of like called me a pathetic little rodent. You haven't got in my comments of my videos and having a go at me. As far as I can see, you've kept your mouth shut. But I would like to know why you have that energy for Sarah and not for me or the shape.
Danny and anyone involved should be embarrassed. He says here, it's nice to expose these people, but all he's done is just expose himself. Even when one of Danny's own fans can see what he's doing isn't right and she calls out his bullying, what does he say? He more or less tells her just to f*** off. Danny talks about spinning the narrative here. Apparently debunkers do this to suit what they say. What happened when the hotel guys got ghosts on Trent and the Ouija brothers to go to the hotel? They were spinning the narrative. They used those guys' channels and good reputations to put out a narrative that they're not fake. Look, these two teams of guys said we're real. If you go and watch their investigations, they're trying to investigate, but can't because the hotel guys constantly interrupt them trying to debunk stuff. It's forced and obvious what they're doing. If you watch the hotel guys' version of the same investigations, it's nothing about investigating. They spin the narrative to suit their needs. All they do is talk about debunking to the point where it's just annoying. They were trying to not look fake so hard. This is also the case when the debunkers got to the hotel. They love to use those clips to fit their narrative.
We had debunkers actually come here.
I think I can speak for PSI when I say PSI are quite satisfied in our capacity as debunkers and paranormal investigators that there's no funny business going on.
I agree. I came here either to get an experience or to say, actually, these guys are full of it. And you know me, Danny. I've argued with plenty of people. We've argued. But we've argued the right way. I came here to be honest, and honestly, my mind has been blown tonight.
Beardo had a moment in room 8 with the grey soul that he could not explain.
It took advantage of me!
Here's a good one. Always remember, folks, if you've got people talking about you and you're living rent-free in people's heads, then you are smashing it. Success breeds jealousy. They want something you have because deep down, they're unhappy with their own lives. Danny, if people are talking about you, it's not always a good thing. They talk about you like now, for example. All of this horrible stuff you're putting out to your followers about someone, when she only spoke up in defense of what Danny said in the first place. But guess what? Don't really care.
Stupid little prick.